All right, guys, welcome back to WCA Europe. We apologize for the delay. It's unfortunate that Gara cannot play his match, and Anid will go through to the next round. A bit of a conflict with other events that he's at right now. So Anid will move on to face StanCifka in the next game. What do you think about that matchup?
About StanCifka? Yeah, this is going to be close, I feel like. We have a French guy, Unit, who's been doing really well, got top 8 at DreamHack. So he actually has a 73% win rate the last 2 months, versus StanCifka has a 46%. So, you know, at least looking at the last 2 months, we have the deck lists from these guys. We have Druid, Priest, and Warlock from Unit. So both Druid and Priest. A very odd lineup here from Unit and StanCifka as well, with Hunter, Warlock, and Warrior. So we saw that previously. I feel like just on that alone, Unit might be slightly ahead. I mean, the Druid's going to do well against Handlock, it's going to do well against Warrior in general, and I mean, the Hybrid Hunter should beat it quite convincingly, though. Looking at jumping into game number 1 here in a bit, but I mean, if we look at the performances as well, StanCifka taking down DreamHack Bucharest, and Unit looking here at top 8 in DreamHack Summer. He got quite far in the Gamers Origin LAN, which was, I think, the biggest open LAN we have had so far in Hearthstone. Now, looking at the game number 1, we're going to have most likely Priest versus Warlock here. But yeah.
Yeah, Priest is an interesting pick in Conquest. It's not really as powerful. Well, it's a class that's kind of struggled a lot in the game anyway. So I need going for the Priest. I haven't quite ever seen him play it. I need a player I'm not all that familiar with because he is an up-and-comer. He is one of the newer players. But we do actually see Shadow Boxer in the deck.
Oh, wow. We even saw in the Mulligan a Rebirth here, or Resurrect even, if you, yeah.
This is interesting, actually. What purpose would Shadow Boxer have in Priest?
I think it's just an aggressive Priest. That's my idea on it. I think if we look at these lineups as well, I'm surprised he went for it as his first deck, maybe trying to throw StanCifka off. If you bring a Priest, it's gotta have a Light Bomb in it and deal with Patrons decently, because if you bring a Priest and it doesn't deal with Patron, you just in a lot of trouble, I feel like. Now, a Zombie Chow? Alright.
Do you think Anid picked this in response to StanCifka playing Hybrid Hunter at the start? Maybe he thought this was a better matchup for him?
I think he may be thinking about possibly about Gara, facing Gara, and he did get that free win. We saw, obviously, Gara play a lot of aggro recently. He's been playing Max Shaman, he's been playing aggro Paladin, he's been playing... yeah, it's a lot of aggression. Hunter as well, quite aggressive Hunter. And we actually have his lineup, and we do know that he was bringing both aggro Paladin and Hunter to this tournament. So maybe Unit was figuring, okay, if I face that, I'm going to be in good position here. Now StanCifka coining out the Hellfire for a lot of value, but he can't really go for the Mountain Giant. So it's going to be have to be Mountain Giant after he plays the Twilight Drake here. So.
I mean, ultimately, the Priest suffers in this matchup because Handlock just outvalues it with its minions, with all the 8 drops. And unless it runs something like a Light Bomb and saves that Light Bomb for a big turn where Warlock commits too much to the board, it could be really a struggle for them because the Shadow Word deaths, just 2 of them, is not quite enough. StanCifka is going to lead here with a Twilight Drake, be able to contest this Light Warden, but, you know, the Injured Blade Master's got a lot of health. It's going to take a bit of work to take him down.
What to consider as well is... there is an option here to attack, and heal again. But with the Priest in general, there's no real answer to, I guess, the Mountain Giant. You have, generally, you've had 2 Shadow Word deaths and 1 silence, but after kind of GVG, you start to cut the second Shadow Word death, and you definitely cut the silence. So things changing up here. It's looking at going phase. Is that possible? I mean, I don't see a scenario where Unity can actually OTK StanCifka here.
I mean, Anid, if he does decide to go with the aggressive play, he can't play that Zombie Chow, so he makes a very mana-inefficient turn and puts StanCifka a little closer to that Molten Giant.
Oh, yeah.
So his options here, he could Dark Bomb this this Light Warden. He could even
I think you just Mountain Giant and trade into the Light Warden here.
Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, he's got the option to clear Injured Blade Master if he wanted to. But this way, he protects his Twilight Drake from the Injured Blade Master. Not a lot of burst really coming from the Priest. Not many efficient ways to buff the minions, apart from stuff like Velen's Chosen. So Sylvanas comes down here to challenge this Mountain Giant. And a Shadow Flame comes off the top. StanCifka's sitting on an owl there, going to make this Sylvanas a little inefficient.
There is an owl, yeah, and we do also have double dark bomb and possibly a molten giant. I'm not sure he wants to go for that molten giant though. I kind of like this double dark bomb here, fitting with the mountain giant into the 4/7. I mean, I'm sure StanCifka will probably feel the same way, because if you go for the molten giant, it's so all in terms of playing around. In terms of playing around light bomb.
We don't. StanCifka doesn't have any information on a need yet, so he doesn't know if he runs light bomb or.
He has to figure though.
But he has to figure. He has to play around. He has to figure it. Say he doesn't want to lose this game to being too greedy on the board, and then a light bomb coming down and just messing up his day. So StanCifka like so close to the qualifying for gamescom. He had to beat Powder, which was a really tough opponent. This is Unneed's first game of the tournament. He didn't get to play Gara, so he's going to be not so much shaky, I think, but he's going to be a bit rough around the edges in the first match.
I think an important thing to note here with you need in terms of the priest is, if you're playing priest, the only saving grace of the priest right now is the light bomb. You don't play priest for the cabal or the circle of healing at the moment, because the patron is just so much more consistent in terms of the draw and in terms of the board control as well. Now we have the cabal come down. It's not too great. He would probably wanted to go for a Holy Nova instead, even Holy Nova with a smite, but he can't really go for the light bomb, can't go for the circle of healing, can't go for the chow, so things looking awkward here for Unit. He will kind of have to draw into something like a thought steal even to have a chance in the game. Don't really run Holy Holy Fire here anymore, so the burst is kind of gone from priest. Maybe Oaken Soul Priest killing his own zombie chow could work out, but going to a late game, I think we have to favor the hand block.
Yeah, for Orpington come down here, reduce the the cost, of his hand. So he's going to be able to play some stuff a lot cheaper. He's got a lot of healing here. And we know StanCifka from his previous games runs 2 Earthen Ring Farseers and 2 anti-heal bots. So he's really piling on the healing in this version of Handlock. And straight away, we're looking at him gaining the advantage on board here.
Actually, had he gotten an Oaken Soul Priest, it would have been lethal.
Oh, really?
That, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course it would have been. It would have been, yeah, that would have been incredible for him, but unfortunately, and he's got no choice but to take the more aggressive stand here, and I think he's going to be a bit upset when he starts seeing all this healing come slam down, but StanCifka still needs to take into consideration a light bomb. Oh yeah,
but he can't play around it forever. I would kind of like to see maybe Lothep and 1 Molten here.
Do you like maybe Lothep, 1 Molten into Earthen Ring perhaps, and then he just sets up a really strong board for next turn to take out a need?
I think so. It wouldn't be too bad here. It's kind of okay. Yeah, he plays around the light bomb. It looks like just go for the Sun Fury, right? Yeah.
So this actually could be the winning play for StanCifka. Plays the Molten Giant as well. Really commits heavily to the board. He's going for the kill here. Can a need find anything to protect himself?
I don't think there's a single card that can work around this, yeah. Oof. I mean, even Oaken wouldn't be enough. You couldn't kill everything, so StanCifka takes game by 1 here.
Yeah, the Wild Blade comes out, and the Priest goes down. Do you think this Priest could potentially be the weak link of a need lineup?
I'm not sure. StanCifka has Patron, and Priest generally is quite strong against Patron if you have the light bomb, and he also has a Hunter. And I feel like this Priest would just tear that Hunter apart. I mean, depending on the draw, but there's zombie chows, there's a lot of 2 drops, there's AoE, there's heals, so I kind of feel like he has everything he needs for that.
It was going to be an uphill battle for a need. Handlock traditionally has a very good time against Priest. We explained some of the reasons why during the game. So StanCifka was probably very happy queuing into that deck straight away with his Handlock. So StanCifka takes a lead here. He's a little bit closer to qualifying for Gamescom next week. So a need now, he has a hybrid. If he's been watching these games, he'll know there's a hybrid hunter coming, and he knows there's a patron coming. So what deck do you think he could pick to give him the best chances of win?
I actually would have liked him to start with Druid, as it's both strong against the Warrior and the Warlock. But I feel like if he's committing to this, he has to go Priest again. Yeah.
I mean, the one advantage Anid does have over StanCifka, if he has been watching the games, is knowledge. There's no information for StanCifka to have an Anid yet because he hasn't played any games in this event yet.
Oh, yeah. So the Warlock is a mystery deal for Unid. I'm not sure what it's going to be. Maybe Midlock? I think it's more likely than Handlock. As generally, players either really like Handlock or they don't play it at all.
Well, for those of you just tuning in, we could have a quick look at the bracket now, just to see who's playing who's gone through. So far, Powder has been eliminated by StanCifka, and we've had Gara be eliminated through disqualification, which is unfortunate, but he had a lot on his plate this week, so maybe he couldn't make it. And, of course, we are currently playing StanCifka versus Un33d, who are currently preparing their next decks.
So yeah, looking at this, we have Cologne versus Vortex coming up after that. We're probably going to have a little bit of a break here after StanCifka versus Un33d, as the schedule kind of got mixed up with Gara's disappearance. Yeah, but then we have Höy versus Show, a Nordic battle there. Should be close, I feel, yeah.
Yeah, we've kind of gone ahead of schedule here because of the one game we've missed from the disqualification. But we're still waiting on the players to select their decks, and need taking this time here, trying to figure out what would be the best deck for him to get the win. This is kind of all or nothing for him now. He has an opportunity to go to the next stage of the event, which would be a massive deal for a player like Un33d, an up-and-coming pro, someone who's trying to make his break into the Hearthstone scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. And everything's going to be on the line. He actually played Fast Druid, Mid Hunter and Oil Rogue at DreamHack, so a bit of a different lineup for him. Only has to Druid again, so maybe he's figuring that StanCifka will bring something, or he's trying to counter Gara. I think this has to be a counter Gara lineup though, as we see the priest there. StanCifka though, yeah, I mean, we talked about his play. He's been playing brilliantly. There's a few minor things I want to touch on though. We saw at one point in the, I believe it was the Warrior game, where he didn't attack before. He attacked before dropping the Frothing Berserker, you know, so he didn't get as much damage as he could have. And we saw that also before, where he was playing the Mountain Giant. He tapped after the Mountain Giant, which obviously would have gotten more options had he tapped first, you know. So sometimes there's minor issues with him in terms of sequencing. Maybe starts to think of an idea and commits to it, and then realizes that something else is better and changes his mind. So other than that, he's been playing perfectly. But if he can fix that, I think he's looking really good in this series here. Mediocre hand here for Un33d, but an excellent form of StanCifka. He has the Savannah Hyman, which is probably the best card for this matchup. Also, the Mad Scientist. Can't get better than that.
Yeah, that Mad Scientist fishing for that freezing trap. Such a heartache for the Druid when a freezing trap comes down. They've got these kind of mid-range minions that have to be bounced back to the hand. They can't play them till later. It really upsets their line of play, especially their curve as well. And we're going to see a Wrath come right down, and the trap is not showing for me a moment.
It is a... Yeah, it's hiding a bit.
It's a hidden trap. Not even the casters are allowed to know what trap it is. So the Knife Juggler comes down. The Shade does come out to challenge it, but...
I think it's overwhelmingly likely that it's going to be a freezing trap. But yeah, the Shade comes down. Has to be the Shredder.
So Druid just curving out as it does, trying to develop something to contest this Hunter, but that freezing trap is still going to come into play here. Oh, StanCifka does have an opportunity to snipe this Shade if he wants to commit and unleash the Hounds, but I think the Shred is probably just a bit stronger here.
Oh yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, it doesn't really play. If you only hit it twice, it's just going to be a disaster, and it's not that likely. It's 1 in 3 that you hit the Shade there, so you need to hit them 3 times. Yeah, not that likely to happen. I do like attacking in here though, now into the Shredder. I guess maybe because it's the freezing trap, you could just use the 2-drop to activate it, so... Alright, I don't mind this at all here. Now, the Druid of the Claw seems like an easy pick, but I think I would have looked at proccing the trap first though. We're just gonna sit on this. Well, okay, he's going for the Force of Nature next turn, alright. Yeah.
So Un33d setting up a bit of defense here with that taunt. Like you said, he's got a Force of Nature packed in the back there to take out that freezing trap when he needs to.
But the Lothar will contest that beautifully, I think. Yeah.
Oh, Nat Pagel, gonna go fishing today.
I want to give some shout out to StanCifka having the Shredder in the middle, because if this was die with Alpha or a Flametongue Totem, it would be massive. Now he kills the Shredder and the Druid. Oh my god, what a swing here. Drops the Lothar, and StanCifka is playing this beautifully. Cannot stress how well he's playing this one.
And if he sends that Succubus back to his hand, if he wants to play it later on, he's going to have to discard a card. So he loses hand advantage as well. So although a 4/3 body is generally really good to come out of his Shredder, in this situation with a freezing trap down, he needs to decide what he values more, this growing Shade or losing potentially some hand advantage in the future if he has to play the Succubus.
I mean, he cannot possibly, you know, not attack if he has the Succubus alive, but now the Succubus is dead, so we're gonna have to look at a Thorson. A nice top deck here on turn 6. Could he get any better? Possibly not. I can't think of anything better than top deck here, Thorson here, and not Piggle draws a card on Knife Juggler, not bad. I think we're gonna have to look at a Savannah coming down though, and the problem for Druid is always how do you deal with the Savannah. There's no real answer to that, I feel.
See, Druid's one of these classes that kind of plays a minion after minion, and that's how it generally goes. Maybe until a little bit later where it gets a bit more mana to play like 2 mid-range minions. So the thing is, like, StanCifka here is going to be playing more aggressive, but if he didn't have, say, the Savannah, he'd be able to lock down the Shade from doing anything if he traded into the Forestons, because that's how much trouble Freeze and Track causes for Druids. But he does decide to go face with more aggressive play, catering more to his hand here. He's got Arcane Golems, Unleash the Houndsglaive Zukas, so I do like that he decided to play the more aggressive style.
I think the innovators can be crucial here as well. You can look at swiping. Yeah, I mean, let's look at the scenario if he just, you know, attacks into the Savannah. He can swipe and kill the Savannah as well. I would have liked the innovate swipe here, over what he's going for right now. Could have cleared most of it, yeah.
Hold on.
Is he looking at big game mentor? Did he possibly think there was a 7 attack? Don't think so. But why not go for the swipe? Okay, you could have swiped the Savannah. We could have killed the Savannah. Okay, you run the Shade into the Savannah. You run both of the Trents into the Lothep. Swipe, and there's only one high in the left.
Leaving a Hyman alive just doesn't seem like a good plan. Especially when the Hunter's so far ahead with his health here. He's got 10 extra health. This Druid is bleeding. He's got so much burst in hand. He's got so much potential going forward here.
This is, I believe, it's close to lethal, yeah. Yeah, it's lethal. Wait, isn't it? Arcane Golem, Glaive Shuka, Hero Power? That's 5, 9. That was lethal.
Did he miss it?
StanCifka missed lethal. Wait, okay, yeah. 6 from the Savannah. 3 from the Glaive Shuka, 4 from the Arcane Golem, and 2 from the Hero Power.
Yep, that's lethal.
That was lethal.
It seems like StanCifka has missed lethal, playing excellently up until this point.
Yeah, this is not something that's going to be justifiable. I mean, you can have to attack into the into the Thorson with the Savannah, and I mean, you're looking to win this game anyway, but missing lethal is just not what we want to see here from StanCifka. Is he tilted? I don't know what's going on.
He is still far ahead though. Like, I don't think he's in a situation where he'll lose. So, fortunately for him, he's not punished for missing lethal this time.
Yeah, but oof.
But a player of his caliber, a player of his quality, is very rare for them.
I mean, I've got to admit, like when I looked at it for the first time, I thought, okay, 2 Arcane Golems, I'm 1 off, you know. But then if you also look at the possibility of Hero Power, yeah, Hero Power and then Glaive Shuka, it's gonna be 5 damage, and the 1 damage you needed for that 15 damage lethal.
Well, regardless of missing lethal in that game, he still takes the win. And he not really having the stuff he needed to continue in that fight. And StanCifka takes a 2-0 lead, 1 more game away from Gamescom.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, you know, you need to bring a counter lineup to Gara, whereas StanCifka just brings an overall strong lineup. And I feel like you needed to commit to the Priest if you're going to go for it at all, to counter that Druid. Because, I mean, we have the Druid, his Druid is strong against the Handlock and the Warrior, kind of. And now with the Handlock out, the Druid isn't as strong, whereas the Priest would be good if the Handlock is out, you know? So sequencing errors, I feel like in the pick and ban phase here for Unit, and it's been costing him a lot. And
StanCifka, he's got that Patron Warrior left. We know what that deck is capable of. A very frightening deck, which can deal so much damage, not just from the patrons themselves, but the Throbbing Berserker. That's like a very big problem for other decks to deal with. Just I saw in the ONOG, Summer Circuit this week, someone deal 40 damage from hand with 2 Throbbing Berserkers.
Ouch.
40 damage. And this warrior had about 40 health with armor, so it just shows the reach of that deck and why it's considered the most powerful.
Yeah, I don't see StanCifka losing 3 times in a row with Patron here. I mean, especially against, you know, yeah, this lineup from Unit. It's not a counter lineup to Patron anyway, I feel.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough road for Need going forward. He's currently deciding which deck to pick next. He's got a win with all his decks, whereas StanCifka's just got that all-powerful Patron Warrior left going into...
It actually doesn't matter now which one he picks, I feel.
Yeah, you just keep picking, you just keep playing until you win.
If he knows it's Patron Warrior. If he didn't know what type of Warrior it was, it would matter. But I feel like I would pick the Priest maybe. You want to, get that win on the board. You don't want to lose 0-3, get your confidence up a bit. But the hand is decent, though.
He finds that Harrison Jones. He's got a good curve game here. Just mulligans.
Wow. Yeah, StanCifka even with a better hand.
Oh, he's found. This is, well, so let's look at this situation here. So turn 4, you play the Death Spite. You hit whatever you need to hit with it. Turn 5 comes along, you drop the Patron, you Inner Rage, you get the Death Spite proc, you spawn 4 Patrons. What can the Druid do from there?
I think you'll have to have a lot of stuff on the board already. Maybe look at, Wrath plus Swipe, or two swipes even. There's a few things happening, but also with the Wild Growth, Shade into Paladin's Feather, it might maybe just be too much.
But not only that, we do see a Harrison Jones in his hand, so he does have a way to slow down this Patron. Harrison, any kind of weapon removal really upsets the Patron Warrior because they don't get to control when the Death Rattle goes off, when they need it to, when those Patrons are on the board. So,
but there is the Harrison now against this Death Spite, and that's going to put all of StanCifka's plans in peril.
Speaking of weapon removal, Anu shows up.
Oh yeah.
Not that it gets its effect, but it kind of caters to what we were talking
Wouldn't
about.
that be cool though if you got the effect, kill a Paladin's Feather, get a Mount Millhouse, win the game. That's how it goes.
Yeah, that would be... I mean, Paladin Shredder is already a powerful card. Do we really need to give him much more?
I mean, it would probably even be a drawback in a lot of scenarios, especially with the Millhouse example. But yeah, Harrison coming down here, this is going as good as it could possibly be for Unit. I mean, Wild Growth into Shredder, into Harrison. You have... I mean, he does have 2 Savage Roars, which aren't the strongest cards here against Patron, but other than that, I mean, you can be looking at, Keeper, Shade next turn.
He forces out an Execute, so that's one of Warrior's only ways to hard removal. They don't get access to Shield Slams. There are Patron decks who do kind of tech in the Shield Block, Shield Slam, but most recently I haven't seen that being that popular, so they very much rely on these Executes, and we do know that Druid is one of those class decks that packs kind of some heavy hitters at the end, so he won't have that available to him later.
Desperation here, throwing out the second Execute in the War Song. This is, pure desperation. He figures, okay, if you can't deal with it, I could win this. He's going to take a risk right now and try to get back. But, yeah, I mean, with Horizon, this is just such desperation from StanCifka. I feel like that may have been too desperate to go for the War Song there a turn earlier.
StanCifka is in a very comfortable position, though. He's already got 2 games ahead. This Druid needs to win this, and then he needs his Priest and his Warlock to win as well. So StanCifka kind of has a few opportunities here to take this game.
Oh yeah, we're going to be looking here at the Loatheb coming down, trading into the Emperor. I mean, Unit's not in a hurry at all. Doesn't need to be either. If he gets the Force, it's pretty much lights out, but doesn't have the Force right now.
Look how much influence the Harrison Jones had on this game. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, and the Harrison here from StanCifka is not going to be enough. There's no weapon to remove, and the Nomismento is, I guess, all right, but yeah, I mean, it just goes under control here for Unit. Drops the Shredder, gets the Shade on the board. This is rough. I mean, possibly with a War Song, he could get something out of this going. But I want to mention one thing. We saw Cifka be completely on point with the Shredders earlier, putting them in the middle. But now we see Unit missing out on that and putting the Shredder to the side. So, yeah, not too happy about that from him.
Bit of desperation here. Goes for the Slam. Going to spawn another Patron. Just trying to contest this board as best as possible. Maybe get a Battle Rage off here. He's got an Inner Range available to him as well, so he can fish another card. If he finds a Whirlwind today, he might have enough board to contest it, but he needs to be thinking about combo now.
Yeah,
combo is a scary thing.
I think Inner Range is what would have to come down first and then draw. Because you have 4 draw coming out of that thing, and I would rather have him have 2 mana to spend it on. Is he looking for another Battle Rage? Or you know, another Inner Rage here?
And Stan leaves a lot of power on board in the need. He's got double Savage Roar here, and he comes flying out, and this is going to do a lot of damage, take in the game. I imagine, for a need, getting him a win on the board. So a need still fighting. He's still looking to qualify for gamescom next week. So takes a round. This is could be the start of a comeback.
I think it's going to come down to what type of Warlock Unit is running. If he's running the Handlock, he's in a good position now. I feel like the Priest is slightly favored against Patron, and the Handlock should be also slightly favored against Patron. So everything is possible. Druid was a nice one to get out of the way there, and he got the perfect draw, I feel. So yeah, I mean, especially if Unit wins the next one, he's in the driver's seat for this series.
Yeah, and he got top 8 at DreamHack. He really showed what he was capable of at that event. I mean, DreamHack Summer was so stacked. It had so many good players in there. It was incredible. So he proved himself there. He proved himself to the world that he could fight a massive Swiss. He can get into a top 8. And now he has an opportunity here to put Stan on the back foot and maybe take this series and go to Gamescom.
I think StanCifka is still favored here, and we obviously don't know what type of Warlock it is. If it's mid-luck, it's going to be really tough for Unity to win 2 matchups that are maybe around 50-50, even slightly favored for the Patron. So, yeah.
So on paper, do you still think Stan is in line to win this?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd give it 70% for Stan. You know, if it's a Handlock, it maybe goes down to 60%, but I still feel he's favored.
Do you feel the misplay from Stan in the previous game we saw, not this game, but the game before we missed Lethal? Do you think that has affected his overall play in this series? Could that show a sign of maybe a bit of nerves, or? I
think it's more a sign of confidence, honestly, that he's not, that he thinks, okay, I'm this far ahead, I don't really need to spend 90 seconds to think of my turn. I could just, kind of play what I want and still win. So I think it's more of confidence than nerves in this case. I mean, he's played endless amounts of tournaments here in Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone, so I don't feel like that would be his problem.
Yeah, he's got a massive amount of accomplishments, not just through Hearthstone, but through Magic as well. And his Hearthstone accomplishments and achievements are starting to come through. He's had some good results, picked up by a good team. It's shown that he's taken this game more seriously now, and he's more committed this game than to Magic. I'm sure his Magic fundamentals and he still enjoys Magic, but Hearthstone, a booming game now in the eSports industry. It's such a good opportunity for him.
It kind of reminds me of when Grubby went from WarCraft 3 to StarCraft. Obviously, I'm not comparing StanCifka and Grubby, in terms of results, but, we had a strong WarCraft player that came into StarCraft, and he started about a year later than most people, but he started to win tournaments soon after he joined. It took some time to get really into it, but when he got rolling, he really did well.
All right, so we're still waiting for the deck choices. He's only taking as much time as he needs to decide where he goes next. You could say it doesn't really matter what he picks now, but it might come down to confidence. He didn't have very good games with the Priest. He might want to get that out of the way now, or maybe save it for last and hope that the Priest will finally come through in that last game.
Now, you generally want to have your strongest matchup right off in game number 5. So picking the Warlock now may give an impression that this could be Handlock, which is obviously what Unity wants StanCifka to think, as you generally want your opponent not to know what you're going to be playing. A horrible hand, though. Eggs are not really good against Patron in general.
And Stan's hand, on the other hand, he's got some options here. Got a Despite, Inner-Age Grim.
I actually want to criticize Unity a bit for keeping the egg. I mean, what are you going to trade the egg into? You can't really trade it into a Armor Smith. Doesn't really work around the Acolyte of Pain, so you're going to be waiting until the Frothing comes down. You might be waiting a long time.
Yeah, he also threw away his Activator for egg as well. And like you said, it doesn't really trade into anything well, especially in the early game.
I think you have to throw the Activator, though, in terms of that. Maybe his plan is to draw a Void Terror. That would be about the most ideal start possible.
Yeah, Void Terror would give him a very big board swing and tempo swing. Having a 4/4 and a 3/5 available so early on in the game. But Stan does have the Fiery War Axe here. He's going to be able to clear up a couple of the minions. This is where an egg might come down, unless he just wants to throw the Knife Juggler into the War Axe.
Oh, the Void Terror here. Unity is probably regretting now that he went for that Knife Juggler over the egg. Imagine if you could go for the Void Terror, how strong that would have been. Unstable Ghoul, not the best, not the worst. Yeah, I don't know what StanCifka is actually going to do. I wouldn't mind just popping the egg, actually.
Yeah, he sets up a Despite next turn. You can clear that out, and then the Despite is set up ready for the Patron. You don't want to keep a hold of this Fire War Axe anymore because you have the Death Spite available to you coming up, and you want to be able to get that going as soon as possible. But it looks like he's actually just gone for face here, not really fearing this egg. And like you said, it's hard for the egg to really be activated at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, having the unstable ghoul is one way to look at it, you know, activating the egg. Obviously does do 1 damage there. Now, I do like the Void Collar though. It's strong, but it's gonna throw away his activator for that egg.
So he loses opportunity here to pop open this egg, and he just gets a very boring 3-3 instead of a 3-5. So actually, I think that makes Stan in quite a strong position.
I guess so, yeah, but the Arcus is still at least alive, so there's some options. Bane of Doom, wow. Oh, we can Bane of Doom the egg possibly. I don't think it's the right call to put Bane of Doom the egg right now, but Arcus is pretty strong.
Alright, so the Argus comes down. This egg will eventually be opened up. That 4-4 may prove some problems for Stan in the future. He finds an Inner Rage, so he has the option of a Grim Patron Inner Rage weapon hit if he wants to start developing the board more. Other than that, what else do you think he could do from here?
I think this egg might turn into an omelette-sized problem here for StanCifka, but with the Grim Patron down, you know, there's some options there. I feel like he may need to leave the egg alive here, you know. But yeah,
It's kind of sad because the egg trades so nicely into that 5-1, and it's not got charged from the War Song, so you can't immediately use it. Sorry.
I mean, you can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs, so maybe that's what you're gonna have to be doing here in the next turn. Looking at a coin execute. Okay, executing the 2-2. I don't mind this. This should be strong.
All right, so he reduces the board of the midlock. So these patrons become most effective. Bane of Doom comes out almost immediately. Let's see what he finds. A Flame Imp?
Not what you want to see. Yeah.
You want to see like a Pit Lord or something, an Infernal, something quite big, but...
We were looking at the option of getting a Void Terror, a 3-3 out of that. And if you get a Void Terror, it's the same thing as using a SI7, which is obviously 3 mana, but a good 3-drop. So we're looking at possibly a 4-drop coming out even. If you get like, Void Collar, that's pretty decent on curve. I think a 3-3 or 3-2 is not efficient in terms of the value for mana.
Yeah, Stan gets to set up an unstable ghoul here, so unless the silence comes down, he's going to generate some more patrons.
Second power overwhelming now. I think he may need to even consider possibly just implosion. I mean,
if he implosions, it gives him an opportunity to either trade or hit face. But with 2 powers, would you want to take a more aggressive stance here?
I want to look at implosion because if he hits Doomguard next turn, he is lethal most likely. He gets so much damage onto the board.
But what if this implosion hits for 2 and he's never lucky?
I mean, he's gonna need to make something happen if he wants to win this game anyway, I feel.
Yeah, these patrons are going to be causing a lot of trouble. It looks like... It just looks awkward now.
It really does. I mean, he was looking, horrible in this game no matter what, I feel.
But now he just opens himself up to a Warsong commander.
He's always going to be open to a Warsong commander, I feel, and he's just got to play his hand. I feel in this position that he was that far behind with patrons on the board and a ghoul. The only scenario he was winning was truly by decking a Doomguard, and going to face with the power warmings. That's probably not going to happen right now.
I mean, the imps become a liability, so when you suggested a play of implosion in the unstable ghoul, it cleared those imps and it cleared that liability.
But it did 7 damage to face though if you hit it, and then you can also go for power warming possibly. So it would be 11 damage to face. Then if you get a Doomguard, you can tap Doomguard and power warming and get another 9. So it's 20 damage, probably lethal if you get a Doomguard. I don't see another scenario. I don't see a scenario in that position with that hand where he could go for a play that didn't involve just killing StanCifka on the turn after and that working out.
So he sets another Battle Rage. You're going to draw some more cards, and then he has the Whirlwind available to him to clear the final board and just sit there with tons of armor and tons of patrons.
Yeah, this is the impossible scenario. I mean, even if he gets a Doomguard, it's not going to be enough, right?
I don't think so. He does have the power of overwhelmment, but he'll have nothing to put it on because Doomguard will discard a few cards first.
Yeah, it's going to be 14 damage even if he gets that off, so... Not enough. Yeah, StanCifka looking strong here to go to Gamescom.
He taps, looking for that final option. Mal'Ganis will not be it, and a need concedes, and Stan will be going to Gamescom, it seems. He's our first qualifier.
Yeah, Stan the man, yeah.
Stan the man.
Well played to him, I guess.
So what could a need done differently?
I think he needed to bring a lineup that was not so centered around beating Gara. I think that was one thing. I think he should have probably queued in the Druid first, then gone for the Priest and stuck with the Priest until the Priest has got a win off, you know? But yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to his play, it was pretty damn solid. Yeah.
He just had, like you said, he built a lineup to beat Gara. He didn't end up playing Gara, which ended up being a bit of his downfall. But one thing to note is at Game's Origin, Gara actually beat a need, and he actually beat Stan as well. So perhaps he figured if he could get through Gara, you know, that's all he'll need to go forward. And maybe that would give him the kind of confidence and the momentum he needed to push on the qualifier. But no, congratulations for Stan. He is certainly a player worthy of going to Gamescom with his consistency and with his performance.
Oh yeah.
And you know, we saw a few questionable plays, a bit of mechanical error, but you know,
it was all minor though. His
yeah.
you know, his general game sense was really on point today. And you know, I think you need, you know, he can't be upset about getting the free win in the first one. He was planning to beat Gara and he did get the win there, you know, so. But it maybe comes down to confidence. He wasn't maybe confident enough to go for just a broad, you know, all-comers lineup and win through that. So yeah, he was maybe figuring if I beat Gara, I'm gonna be happy, and he did get the win against Gara, so maybe he can't be too unhappy about that. But yeah, seems like we're gonna go to a short break probably.
Yeah, we got
a medium-sized break.
Yeah, we've got some exciting matches coming up for you. We've got Cologne versus Vortex. You know, the typical underdog story. Vortex, an up-and-coming player, playing one of the best Hearthstone players in the world right now. And then we have Show versus
Show versus Hoyt, yeah.
Hoyt, yeah. It's a name I sometimes struggle pronouncing. It's not really in my vocabulary, being a Welshman and all that. So we got that match coming up for you as well. Congratulations to Stan. He is our first qualifier. So if you'd like to find out more information about this event and everything that's going on, be sure to check out WCA-Europe.com. If you want to communicate to us or perhaps the organizers, you can go through Twitter at WCA Europe. And if you've got any comments on the games, you know, just throw in a hashtag WCA 2015 and we'll see if we can get back to you guys. So we're going to take a break. It's going to be a little bit longer because we are ahead of schedule. We didn't have the Gara game. So when we come back, we will have Vortex and Cologne playing. So don't go anywhere. We've got some more exciting Hearthstone coming your way.